Hi there everyone, this is Tracey from Lavinia Stamps and thank you for joining me for another demonstration today. A demonstration with a difference because we've got some new stamps that we've launched today that are on our website. So of course we're on Hochanda tomorrow at 10 AM and 2 PM. So I hope you get a chance to join the lovely Amanda Branston for some of her fantastic tutorials then. So you can buy these on our website or on Hochanda on Friday the 12th of November. So we've got here the lovely Tia, and we have a flourish left, a flourish right, and Tia sits lovely on that wreath flourish. We've got a swirl set here that works again really well with this set, and we've got some nice winter words called Winter Magic, and these just work really nicely together, as you will see. I've got a couple of our Elements ink pads here, so I've got Lime Punch, Olive Green and Bermuda, and I'll be using those to create a really nice background to stamp straight onto. So starting with the Lime Punch, I'm going to pop some of that down on our mat. This is our brand new mat, by the way, available on our website now. It's a really nice, thick, good quality mat, good size as well. We've got Bermuda. I'm going to pop a little bit of that down as well. I want to try and keep it fairly light initially. You can always add depth of colour afterwards. So let's just pick up that colour on our card. Now don't worry if you don't cover all the white area. We can add more colour as we go along using our stencil brush. So I'm going to dry that off. Now as I'm drying, I'm just going to use my fingertips and just give this colour a little bit of movement by dabbing some water over the top, and you can see how that reacts with the colour. I think that looks fab. Gives it a little bit more texture, a different dimension to a flat colour. You know, you can always spritz it as well, and again that ink will just rise to the surface, and when you dab that off you'll get some really nice tiny little speckles of white coming through. We need to make sure that that card is completely dry before we stamp onto it, just to make sure that the ink sticks properly to the card. So I'll just give that a quick bend back into shape. The Multi-Fairies card is great for that. It's a really good thick quality card, and no matter how much water you seem to throw at it, it just keeps its shape, and it doesn't become translucent like some thinner card. So your card thickness is quite important when you're working with inks and water. We've got our lovely Tia here, so we're going to pop her down on a block and then ink her up in the Nocturne. Make sure that that's completely covered, and we're going to pop her down in the centre there, like so. Give that a good press. And then we've got our flourish. And let's ink that up in the Rainforest VersaFine. And we're going to pop that down as though she's sitting on it. So just under her bottom, just here, and that works quite well. And then we're going to take the other flourish. These are two different flourishes. They're both designed to actually join it together, and they're quite different. It just means that the image, it doesn't look too repetitive, which is why I designed them. Okay, let's go back to the Rainforest again, ink up, and then let's pop that down and just join at that circle. And there it is. So I've got my little flourish here, or two little flourishes, and I'm going to start building some layers up over the top of this now. Now this time I am going to use the elements to stamp with, something that I don't normally do, but I don't want a particularly sharp image. Want it to be quite sort of in the background, quite mottled. So that's the only reason why I'm using a water-based ink now. So I'm just working my way around, and you can see it's very faint, very subtle. But that's exactly why I'm using this ink. Okay. I'm going to use some of the violet chalk as well, just as a slightly different colour combination. And purple and green always go well together anyway, so and then we've got our swirl set, and this time I'm going to use the Twilight, the VersaFine Clair, because I want to keep that definition. And just add some of those lovely swirls in the background there. And all you're doing is just building that lovely wreath up, which is really, it's quite good fun actually, when you've got lots of little stamps and you're just building that up gradually. It's knowing when to stop, I think, half the time. That's my problem anyway. I'm going to go back to that little wreath again now. And I am going to ink up in the Twilight this time, just to give a more defined flourish, just on the odd one. Okay. So next up we're going to do a bit of embossing. First of all, I'm going to make sure that this is completely dry. and put my anti-static over the top as well, because that embossing powder loves to stick to everything, I think. I'm going to take my flourish, and this time I'm inking up in the Versamark. So ink up, and then we're going to pop that just on the one side. Give that a good press. And then taking the opaque bright white Wow embossing powder, I'm going to sprinkle that over the top. Let's tap that off and pop that back in the pot before we forget. And then using a brush, you can see how it's still stuck to Tia. I'm going to just sweep that away. And then leaving it obviously where I want it to be. And now I'm going to heat that up. And you can just see that starting to come through now. And it just gives it another really nice layer. So taking the Bermuda and one of our stencil brushes, I'm going to ink that up, and then I'm going to add a little bit more colour over the top. And you can see the white really does jump out at you now. And then I'm going to go around the edge, covering those areas that we missed before. And we're going to take a little bit of the graphite as well. And I'm just going to deepen the colour around the edge. We've got our lovely Christmas words here as well, so I'm going to pop those down around the edge, and this time I'm going to use the Twilight, which is a lovely sort of navy blue colour. It's a great colour if you just don't want to use black. Black can be quite hard sometimes, so if you want something a little bit more subtle, just go with the Twilight. Okay, and I've got my star here as well. This also comes with the new set. I'm going to ink that up in the Versamark. Let's pop that down round about there. Again, go back to our white embossing powder. And let's heat that up. And you can see it's just going through there. And if we want that to stand out a little bit more, we'll just go back to the Bermuda and just ever so lightly go over the top. It's just a slightly darker colour, which means the white will really stand out. We've got our swirls, we've got our flourish, we've got our star. Now we can always add more to this if we want. I've got another little couple of stamps here from our previous collection, and I'm just going to bring those in as well. And I'm going to ink up in the Monarch. We've got our nice heart charm here as well. So let's ink up in the twilight. And pop that down. There. And that's what's great about the stamps. You can use new ones, old ones, you can mix and match, and they work really nicely together. So finishing off, we'll use some of our Posca pens. So I've got my yellow, and we'll use some white. And we've got our white here, so I'm just going to pop a few more dots round. And I'll add a little bit of glitter as well. So again, I'm just going to dot that glue pen in and around the leaves, and then I'll just dot it on the areas that are hanging down, and hopefully the glitter will pick up on the glue there. And what colour shall we go with? Let's have a look. That's quite a nice one. It's got a little bit of gold in. So we'll go with the Vintage Shimmer. And we can brush it off any areas that we don't want that to stick. But I think that makes a great alternative to a Christmas card. Something a little bit different. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed today's demo. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you managed to stay tuned for Hochanda tomorrow to join the lovely Amanda, and we'll see you very soon. You take care. Bye for now.